What are you doing? Why are you making a scam box? What do you want? Nothing. I can't make anything with that.
No, just take it. I don't want it.
I'm good. Someone joins and they just start dropping stacks of stuff on me. There's always a sinister story behind it.
Yeah, there is a story behind it.
Yeah.
It's all duped. Everything in the game is really.
Well, yeah. Now, you don't happen to know who is responsible for that, do you?
Yeah.
Is it you?
Yeah.
No way.
We got an open seat here if anyone wants to join up or get any V-Bucks. How come I kicked you? You're responsible because you're helping your friend do it and he gave you stuff? You shouldn't be part of that. That's cheating.
Not worried about.
Now, I should have been suspicious when you said you had to get a new Xbox because your old account got banned for cheating. Well, at this rate, you're going to have to buy a lot of new Xboxes, aren't you? You shouldn't help your friends do things that ruin the game. Now, maybe just drop in the bucket of what I'm trying to do here. You know. And I can't hold back the entire flood by myself, but I can certainly avoid associating with people who are making the game a worse place, a worse thing to play. Why do we have to deal with so many people at high levels who don't know how to play the game? Two reasons. Because people carry them and do missions for people without ever caring about whether the people they're carrying know how to play the game, and because people assist low players in getting through missions by spamming resources, by basically giving them unlimited resources so that they can overcome the husks with brute force rather than using their traps and weapons effectively. Then they get up, eventually they get up high enough in the game where those strategies don't work anymore, and so then they rely on things like jails for every mission because, oh, it's so hard. How are we supposed to get through all these missions when it costs us thousands of traps for each one? Well, it doesn't cost you thousands of traps if you use them right, but you've never learned how to use them right because you've always had thousands of traps. And so that's why things happen like the crowd control system to overcome jails, because everyone becomes too reliant on jails because no one learns how to play the game in any different way.
Breathe.
Ultimately, carrying and duping are the causes of everything that's wrong with this game, and everything that all the changes that have made this game, all the negative changes that we dislike. I think we can blame on those two things. Why doesn't Epic fix it? It's a difficult engineering problem. They have limited resources. Personally, if I were saying the priorities, that would be the top priority. We can only hope that they do, but in the meantime, I'm going to do my part by not associating with anyone who does that. But that's how you do giveaways. Yeah, that's another part of the problem, isn't it? People enter giveaways, they get stacks and stacks of dupe traps, or Sunbeam or whatever, which of course they just use to exchange for traps because they can't do anything with all that Sunbeam on their own. And so now the game's flooded with people who whose entire experience of the game starts with joining Stonewood and getting 20,000 144 traps dropped in their laps, and putting those traps everywhere and watching how quickly they kill the husks until they get up to Twine, and suddenly that doesn't work anymore, and now they have no idea what they're doing. And so they have to rely on more and more failed strategies, which Epic then has to counter by making all the real strategies work. Not as well as they should.
I've added some tracks to your
So,
inventory.
giveaways are part of the problem. Duping's a
When
problem.
you're ready, connect the armory to the launcher.
Largely because it contributes to those. There was someone in here yesterday who decided to brag that he was involved in that stuff himself. And I gave him a timeout, and I said, you do it again, it's a permanent ban. So I will make the same statement to you. Cyber Angel Taxes, or whatever your name was. This is not the name that you were in here under before, which is a little suspicious, isn't it? But I'll make you the same ultimatum. I don't want to hear another word about it. I don't want you coming in here dropping stacks of stuff that you've duped or gotten from dupers or whatever. If you do it again, it's a permanent ban. Giveaways are to help the low-level players? No, they're not helping the low-level players. This is what I'm saying. Giving people free stuff does not help them. Whenever I say I'm all about hand-ups and not handouts, I don't know if you've ever heard me say that. I only say it about 1,000 times each stream. But when I say that, that's because giving people things doesn't help them. Right? What helps people get better at Save the World is progressing from power level 1 to power level 130 the way that the game is intended to be played, because then they learn which weapons are worth using, they learn which perks are worth using, they learn which weapons they like using, they learn which things work together effectively and which things don't. They learn which things take a lot of resources to make and which things don't. They become experienced players. If you just give them a bunch of things, they don't learn which weapons are strong against what, because, you know, everything they have is 2-star levels above the missions they're playing. They don't learn anything about how weapon leveling and area capping works, because all they've ever had has been 144, and they can see, well, the 144 does more damage than my power level 12. They don't realize that it's only doing the same damage that a 77 would do. Whereas if they start at level 12 and they progress up to level 51, then level 77, they get to experience that firsthand. When they start with their trap schematics, phone's ringing. When they start with the trap schematics that they get out of mini llamas, and learn to use them together effectively, and then one time they're in a mission and they see, oh, this trap isn't quite working the way I would like it to, maybe it would be nice if it reloaded faster, and then suddenly they unlock something that lets them make their traps reload faster. Now they gain a respect for how those different parts of the trap interact with each other, and why in some reasons it might, in some cases it might be good to have a trap that reloads faster, or in others it might be good to have a trap that hits stronger but doesn't reload as often. If all they've ever seen are the same dupe traps that everyone has hundreds of thousands of, they're not learning that. If the only way that they can get traps is by going to giveaways, they're never going to be able to change what's on their traps, or learn why some configurations are better than others. So no, giveaways do not help people. And it always bothers me when I see people saying, I want to rush Twine so that I can help people. I just want to unlock, I need to be able to craft 130 so I can help people. No, that you don't need that to help people. You can help people much more effectively if you have just entered Canny Valley but you know how to play the game than if you rush to Twine without knowing how to do it. Thank you, this has been my TED Talk.
We made it! Can we just take a moment to appreciate how cool that is? I could blow up all of my problems with that thing. Enough of that. Let's get to work.
Now, you'll often see me doing resource giveaways on the stream, which in reality are just me getting rid of the things that I've accidentally picked up while playing local missions. And I don't have a problem with that, because it's the same stuff that people could be picking up themselves in their missions in about the same quantities, right? If it's something that took me half an hour to get, I don't mind giving it to someone. Because I know that they could get it themselves in half an hour, and I have no use for it. When you're giving someone 20,000 Sunbeam, who's in, you know, Blankerton, they're not going to be getting that themselves at all, and certainly not in those quantities. I don't get it in those quantities. I don't need it in those quantities. But every time someone says, can I pay you in Sunbeam for doing something that they should be able to do themselves, that means it's someone along their Save the World career has dropped the ball and taught them that Sunbeam is not a crafting material, but a currency to be used to pay people who know how to play the game to play it for them. And I don't want to be in a community where no one knows how to play the game. They only know how to pay other people to do it for them.